Welcome back, everybody, to game two of this playoff series between Soulbound Mirage and Omega Gaming Silence. We just watched Omega Gaming Silence take game one. We're going to see how game two goes. I am Gordo, joined once again by Rudude. Rudude, how's it going?
Yes, very well here, Gordo. Super excited to get this second game underway. And just before things get too confusing here, I want to explain to people how the draft is actually going because it started off with Silence wanting the blue side, but just before the started the lobby, they decided to swap over to the red side. So what you're seeing on screen is actually Soulbound Mirage's blue side draft and Omega Gaming Silence's red side draft. So as confusing as it will be, please bear with us. And just remember that for this pro draft in particular, that the sides are swapped.
Yeah, we'll do our best to refer to the teams correctly and just remember to trust us over your lying eyes. So, we're going to see Caitlyn and Tarek bands coming through from the side of Soulbound Mirage and Lilia Nar bands over on the side of Omega Gaming. And it looks like Soulbound may have learned their lesson as we were talking about last game. They look to be banning out this gangplank.
Exactly, they're going to take that one away, which leaves up the Elise for Banky Kang if he wants to go for that one here in game number two. But honestly, with the way that he performed on either the Jarvan or ways that we've seen him perform on the Galio, I expect him to be or on the not the Galio, the Nidalee rather, that champion who's what I meant to say. I definitely expect something not the Elise necessarily to come on through for him.
Yeah, and Banky can play the meta too. He's got some Nidalee games in there. He's got some Graves games on there. So definitely going to have a pretty wide array of champions to access. But now he just wants this Jarvan to go with this Galio again.
Exactly, and this Callista pick is still available for Omega Gaming Silence, should they choose to go for it. Can easily pair that up in the bot lane once again with the Galio if they choose to do so. Have to remember that the Galio can also be flexed into the mid lane, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The story of Silence's series at the moment, taking those two champions that won them well in game number one, picking them up once again for game two.
Yeah, and they were able to execute the way they wanted to, so they can put the onus onto the side of Soulbound Mirage to have a different answer. And it looks like that different answer is going to be horse shaped as they select Hecarim on their side.
Exactly, going to be a different answer to the Jarvan here, and also has a way of getting out of that Cataclysm, so that is going to be quite nice, but it is going to come at the cost of an ultimate if he's choosing to use that in that manner in particular. And right here, we've got the set coming on through for not Akuma, Soulbound here. Remember, once again, Soulbound on the blue side. I'm doing my best to remember it as well because these name tags are very off-putting. But what we need to remember is that this set can go into multiple areas of the map. Can be put mid lane, can be put top lane, can even be put in the support role to be paired with this Samira. The auto-attack knock-up that Samira gets when an enemy is CC'd is going to be very useful with maybe the set support, maybe the Hecarim in the jungle. But instead, this time around, Omega Gaming Silence are going to opt for the Ezreal as the AD carry, as opposed to that Callista that we saw do them so much wonder in game number one.
Yeah, I feel like this also means that the Galio is likely to go mid lane. I feel like Galio Ezreal isn't really the kind of lane dominant duo you tend to go for. And against something like Samira and, like you said, potentially Set or even probably another kind of tanky support that could be paired with her, it's probably not going to be the most favorable lane. A little bit of a non-bow there.
Exactly. I do or would like the mid lane to sort of see this Galio coming on through, and then that lends more of a synergistic playstyle toward the duo of Galio Jarvan because they can get that combo unlocked a little bit faster as the mid lane reaches level 6 prior to, or more fast than the support role does. So when they get both those ultimates unlocked, we'll be able to go for those set staple plays, make it very straightforward to lock somebody down and take them out of a fight.
Yeah, interested to see. I would expect the side of Soulbound to probably, or the side of Omega Gaming. It got me once
Yeah.
here. Going to look to pick a top laner here, and I would have been right if I had said it before it happened, but it's going to be the Kennen lock-in. Further optimizing along with these big circles that are going to go down between the Cataclysm and the Hero's Entrance.
Exactly, I love that. There we go. Big AoE ultimates, big circles across your screen here. Look at them. If they land on you, then you're going to be in danger. The slicing maelstrom on top of the cataclysm, on top of the hero's entrance. Every single ultimate so far, but from Silence, is going to do absolute wonders in a team fighting situation. But this answer here from Soulbound, they're going to take the Kale into the top lane. Potentially as an answer to this Ken in here. Going to be a pretty rough early game, but if the Kale can make it out of laning phase, then whew, that's a late game scaling carry to be feared.
Yeah, but Kale into a ranged top laner certainly feels like it's going to be a pretty scary pre-level 6 for that champion, just not going to have a lot of access here. But maybe it's going in the mid lane. No, it's going in the top lane because if this, yeah, Vigar going to be the mid laner here. Probably facing down that Galio, but Galio can still be flexed to support, and they could counterpick this Vigar pretty heavily right here.
They definitely have the option to do so. It would sacrifice a little bit of their bot lane power, which is where we saw so much of their early game dominance come from in game number one. But Silence not adverse to changing things up in the draft. And we see here with the hover of the Orianna that this is going to potentially be that Galio down in the support role once again. Banjito going to be put onto Galio duty, and your nurse going to be put on a staple mid lane pick in that Orianna.
Yeah, and there we see it, and I think that it's not quite the harshest Vigar counter in the world, but it is definitely going to be another mage with longer range who can kind of effectively dodge out onto the cage there. Would have probably have been a little bit rough for the Galio early on, at least he wouldn't have any kill pressure in there. Whereas in the bot lane, probably just going to be farming it out, kiting for his Ezreal, trying to use Justice Punch to escape any ganks, as they're just going to hope to survive and maybe hope to be a little bit more aggressive going towards the mid lane there, as Vigar not the most adept at avoiding those ganks.
No, he's not, but equally, he's going to be quite adept at stopping the engage that will be coming out from Omega Gaming Silence here. And now, as we move on into the in client draft, it'll become a lot less confusing for both me and Gordo and you guys at home here, because all of the people that are playing the champions will actually be locking them in here. The Vagar cage itself stops all dashes, so if that Galio tries to Justice Punch in or out, he's going to get interrupted. The Jarvan engage, it's going to be interrupted as well. So the ways of getting in, the ways of attacking Soulbound Mirage are severely limited by the amount of pressure that the Vigar has with that prison.
Yeah, no, really excited to see what the team fights coming into this game are going to look like, because you're going to have a lot of zone control coming into both sides. We were talking about circles earlier. There's going to be some Venn diagrams in these fights because we're going to have the Vigar cages coming through and the Kale ultimate, and we're going to have on the other side the Kennen ultimate, the Galio ultimate, the Jarvan ultimate. We're going to have two very mobile 80 carries just trying to skirt around these fights and avoid getting hit by any of those.
Exactly, it's going to be one of those just sort of avoid AoE at all costs here for the AD carries. Really going to be a test of their positioning prowess, if they're able to get themselves safe and dish out the damage, or are they going to be struggling and sort of getting caught out and picked off one by one here. I really like the sort of niche synergy that we see in the top and ADC, two roles that you don't often see synergizing well with one another. But Kale and Samira, one of this duo, sort of a bit of a throwback to Kale Kai'Sa when Kai'Sa was an S tier ADC, where you would just throw the ultimate on the Kai'Sa as she dashed in and watch her go off in a team fight. And with that, the same principle applies here. The Samira dashes in, uses the Inferno trigger, and if she's immune to damage, then it's going to be quite hard to take her down, especially with the Kale ulti layered on top. There's definite potential for a unique wombo combo teamfight situation for itself to arise.
Yeah, definitely. And even if you can't get that to work out, if you can't get the Inferno trigger stacks, if it's not safe for Samira to actually go in, there's some great default KO ultimate targets here in this Hecarim in this set. So they're going to have a lot of flexible options for how they want to use that ability, and it's going to probably give them a lot of entry points in these fights that you might not expect.
Exactly. Something that I love to see across teams is when they dive buddy together. When you pick a pairing that can go into the backline together, because so often teams take just one dive champion. That champion dives in, it dies on its own and doesn't complete its goal. This time around, we've got the set, got that Hecarim, and we've got the support as well of a Kale ulti. So dive buddies going together always makes sense, and I'm really happy to see that with these two bruiser champions picked up, we're going to see some challenging of the backline on Omega Gaming Silence.
Yeah, and with that said, it is going to be interesting to see just how much influence Jarvan in particular can have this game, as once he's able to get that Cataclysm down, he is against pretty much a dream team comp to be playing this Jarvan here and dishing out that Cataclysm. Kale has no dash. Vigar has no dash. Set has no dash. Hecarim doesn't even take flash most of the time. So if he can get somebody in there and line them up for Kennen or Orianna ultimates, those are going to stick.
Exactly. So much pressure coming across in these team fights. And you talked about the Orianna ulti. We also have to remember the Ezreal True Shot Barrage over the top. Yes, it has diminishing returns on hitting somebody, but still does a ton of damage. The Galio ulti on top of that as well. The potential for wombo combo is definitely there, not just for Silence, but for both sides. So definitely excited to see how this game number 2 plays out.
Yeah, certainly going to be looking to see what kind of fights are going to break out here and whether these 80 carries are going to be able to navigate them. But with all that said, we are going to take a short break here to get loaded into the game and get everything all synced up. We will be right back as soon as the game starts, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of this winner's side semi-final best of 3 for the Risen Divine League between Omega Gaming Silence and Soulbound Mirage. My name is Gordo, and I am joined once again by Rudude. Rudude, we just saw OMG Silence take Game 1. Ready for Game 2?
30 seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
Yeah, definitely some spicy picks coming through from the side of Soulbound Mirage here in this fight for their winners bracket lives here. If the side of Omega Gaming Silence is able to win this game too, they will be right into the winner's side finals, and they will be guaranteed at least top 3 in this playoffs.
As evil grows.
Absolutely, and on the other side, if Omega can't do it, then it's going to be Soulbound Mirage who does. One of these two teams going to be walking away with a berth to the winners finals, and going to be guaranteed, you know, we're already pretty deep in the tournament, but they'll be guaranteed a fairly deep run. Oh, and now it's going to be a flash forward at level 2 immediately from the side of this set, as they're going to be trading in onto this Ezreal Galio lane, but they've hit level 2 on the backside. Now Ezreal going to be trading in here onto this Samira. He feels very strong here. Azuto walking forward, going to be landing these auto attacks and going to be going forward here. And that is going to be it. Yeah. Rudude, maybe check if you're muted. I'm hearing that nobody's hearing you.
There we go.
All right, well, welcome back, Rudude, to the stream. You've been here for me, but maybe not for everybody else. But now we're reunited. We're back for the cast.
You know,
Nothing
the thing
happened
is, literally the second I stopped talking right there, I thought to myself, has anybody even heard anything I said? Because I had the feeling, and at the end of the day, it was a big faux pas on my end, and it's something that you've come to know and love on this channel here, just having one play-by-play cast, having a nice little conversation with, it seems, themselves. But I'm back, so hey, welcome back, everybody, and thank you, Gordo, for being a beautiful caster who, you know, was doing his best with the very limited resources of not having my voice on air.
Yeah, no, not quite real. I was able to hear you the whole time, so I didn't find out until one of our audience members got a hold of me. But we are all set here, as Koros going to be bullying in this top lane pretty harshly. He knows he has this advantage early on.
He definitely does. We can see the CS lead amounting already, nearly 10 CS in that top lane, and surprised that it's even gotten to, you know, 16 for the Kayle here is, you know, also the name of the game, getting to that level. But the CS, you know, itself is something that we need to keep close eyes on, because if the Kayle, you know, might be able to get some experience, but if he's not able to get the items, those items in the inventory, fighting in the mid lane though.
Oh, now your nurse going to be forced to flash out here, gets picked up by the Vygar stun and has Best Turtle right next to him. Not going to feel safe there.
No, and rightly so, having to flash away from that situation. Yes, the Hecarim has Ignite, so doesn't have the tele or doesn't have the flash to go over and chase, but has a lot more kill potential. He's going to...
Yeah, the Event Horizon going to be landing onto the Orianna again, has no flash available. Your Nurse going to be going down here for first blood over to Hecarim. Best Turtle strikes first in this game.
Yeah, and even though there is a ward in that lower side of the river here, just the event horizon itself, enough time bought for the Hecarim to come on in, charge the Orianna down, and take down first blood for the Pony. This Ignite paying dividends early on already, so he's going to be very happy. Will be working himself towards that Trinity Force once again, you have to imagine, and then start taking over the game from there with that one-item power spike that Hecarim so known for in the current meta.
Yeah, absolutely. And now going to be seeing this cannon just continuing to pressure in the top lane.
He's just constantly looking and trying to apply the pressure just whenever he can, essentially. It's just, you know, pretty much flawless top-side gameplay when you're trying to play versus something that needs to be put down. This is how you want to be executing on it.
Absolutely. And now going to just be some more farming going on in the bot lane, but your Nurse looking for this gank up onto Steel City Warrior before he's able to hit the ultimate, but he just hits 6 just in time. Going to not use the ultimate quite yet, but does have availability to it. Also has backup from his jungler here. It looks like they're not even going to attempt this dive any further. Your Nurse's time, unfortunately, wasted.
Yeah, the wave just not quite in a position to help out Koros.
Koros just looking here on his own, but he's going to be tanking up turret. Going to take 2 shots here and be forced to go B. Also doesn't have access to the teleport because he switched over to that Ignite. Now Set going to get engaged on by the opposing bot lane. Nullivar is going to come in, going to deflect some of those Mystic shots and make sure that his support can get out.
Yeah, makes itself away just about right there. Did have the Haymaker available, so the threat of death never really impending upon the Set right there. But that being said, it did force the recall and is going to give the side of Omega Gaming Silence another opportunity to push down the turret. They're actually going to get a plating gold onto Azuto and be able to take a recall at a fairly decent spot right here. Have to see if he's able to pick up the tier on this recall, because you can see from the Ezreal's build path that it's gone for the Sheen very early on to try and harass out this lane, and it worked out incredibly well right here. Has been able to go back to base, pick up that tier, and now start stacking alongside the Orianna.
Yeah, and props to the side of Steel City Warrior being able to survive some of these repeated attempts on his life up in the top lane. As he's now hit level 6, he's now ranged, he's gotten through the worst of it, and he does have a significant CS lead. It is worse than it looks, as Kennen hasn't quite been able to clear out this big wave in front of him yet. But all in all, not out of the game, and that's about the best you could hope for.
Exactly. I mean, the Kayle itself was attempted to be
now
put
it's going to
down.
be a flash event horizon from the Vygar, as he knows your Nurse does not have access to the flash still, and going to be an easy pickup along with the help from his jungler, as your Nurse just getting bullied in this mid lane and has now gone down twice.
Yeah, the power of the event horizon proving why you want to, you know, take cleanse versus Veigar. Unfortunately, your Nurse opting for the TP, a little bit more laning power, hopefully coming out of that, but has had to use the TP now twice. He's been forced back to base without it, and it's going to be a serious deficit in this mid lane. You can see that he's picked up the Mercury Treads, but that stun is still going to hit. Yes, it'll last for a little bit less time, but maybe that is not going to be enough, as we see, you know, so much power in the Veigar already. Has gone for the Electrocute here, not the Glacial Augment that we see so often on Veigar, so could be a very high damage game right here from this Veigar.
Yeah, absolutely something to be watching out for here, as we've seen both of these junglers just ticking up over to level 6. Banky Kang going to be starting up this Rift Herald, but let's look and see if Best Turtle might be hunting around down bottom here. He's clearing away these golems and might have an opportunity soon.
Exactly, that is the attempted play. Koros looking for one himself on the top side, is teleported back in, but isn't going to find the stun, and ultimately isn't going to find the kill subsequently. It does have the wave in a really nice position though, and it's toying with the recalls of Steel City Warrior right here. Has the teleport for the Kayle, so it's not too detrimental if they're forced back a little bit longer. But you can see here Azuto, Banjito trying to get the crab, trying to deny the gold from the Hecarim, but with all of the priority in the mid lane, the Vygar was able to roam down as well, help out the jungler, and able to secure that for himself, and might even do a little bit more.
Yeah, we do know where Turtle is here, as Nurse is going to be going down onto Turtle, but going to be getting chased onto, going to have the Hecarim ult come through, and going to have the Galio ult come through just too late, as Hecarim able to pick up an easy kill there. Now it's going to be Event Horizon coming through onto the side of Banjito. Banjito going to have to flash away here, unfortunate play from the side of Omega Gaming Silence, and now Koros going to be flashing in on the top lane to try to make the difference here, as Banky Kang going to be coming in with the flag and drag. They're going to be picking up this KO here. There's no way they can't, as Koros gets the first kill for the side of Omega Gaming Silence.
Yeah, I really like that play on the cross map right there. Sees a play going awry down in the bot side, makes something happen in the top lane. Banky Kang picks up a kill for the Ken and also picks up the Herald as well. So that is something to keep track of, where this Herald gets placed. Does it try and free up the Orianna in the mid lane? Does it try and snowball the Kennen lead in the top side? Or does it maybe make the difference in the bot lane here? Multiple options open to Jarvan in this game, and so far at least hasn't had the same impact that we saw in game number 1, and we can see that Best Turtle definitely showing up this time around. Yes, he's been focusing one lane, but it's been going very well. Banky Kang now on this bot side.
Coming in for a potential gank here. He has access to the Cataclysm. Going to get stunned up here along with Vangito, as Vangito going to be looking to follow up here along onto this set. Now it's the flag and drag coming through after the Cataclysm, but they've both gotten out. Nutty Bar's not even having the flash there. Well played from the side of Soulbound Mirage, as your Nurse and North are now trading into each other onto the river. Going to be having to back away from each other here, as your Nurse just cannot take these trades yet, getting hit up by that Super Soak.
No, that fight is definitely not one that the Orianna wants right there. Just look at the item discrepancy between these two mid laners. Your Mercury Treads and the Tear of the Goddess. Yes, it gives you a little bit of sustainability and a few more mana spells effectively, but it doesn't give you any trading power whatsoever. And Koros in the top side.
Oh, and now Banky Kang going to be getting engaged in here by Best Turtle, as Koros is going in on the top lane, but Banky Kang going to be the one who's caught up in that event horizon and taken down. Koros going to get taken down by Steel City Warrior on the other side. Must have been efficiently using that divine intervention in order to win the fight against the Kennen. Disastrous for Koros and the side of Omega Gaming Silence.
Yeah, disaster strikes, as you mentioned, across the board here. Disadvantages starting to crop up around the map. They take down the...
now potential engage here from your Nurse onto North. He has gotten that phase rush proc, going to be flashing over the event horizon, going for the solo kill here, and it looks like he's going to be able to get it. He does! QW, command attack, command dissonance coming through from your Nurse, but now going to be picked up by this Hecarim, as Best Turtle going to charge through the minion wave, going to Onslaught of Shadows on top of the opposing mid laner, going to make it a 1-for-1.
Yeah, so I mean, he gets the kill in the end, but that kill should have never gone the way of your Nurse right there. There is absolutely no world where a 2-0-2 Vigar should be getting solo killed by the 0-3 Orianna, who had no combat stats. So really well played to Nurse to find the advantage, to find the opening and make that play happen and get the, you know, shutdown gold back in the Orianna pocket, because that is what the Ori needs right now. It's what your Nurse is after, is trying to get himself a little bit of gold, a little bit of a way back into this game and start picking up that experience for himself as well, to segue himself into a mid game where we're hoping to see the team fighting of Omega Gaming Silence really be what carries them. They're 1,500 gold down so far, but we're looking to these team fights to maybe be the difference maker in the mid game area.
Yeah, and your Nurse able to seize the opportunity there, knowing that the Vigar ultimate was down and that he was going to be able to proc phase rush and dodge out to some abilities there. But that's not representative of what's going to be happening in these team fights. If he can't get some items down, he is not going to be able to dish out the damage with Shockwave that he needs to be able to do to chain these ultimates together and to automatically win these fights the way that they want to.
Exactly, and I want to sort of highlight here on the bot side that both of these ADCs are quietly farming up right now. Nutty Bars and Azuto both doing very well in that farm department. The Ezreal has completed the Man Immune and completed that Sheen off that first recall, as we talked about very early on. So both of these ADCs here are going to be monstrous as well in the mid-game team fights. Yes, the Ezreal known for his 2-item power spike, but the Samira with level 6 can never be underestimated either.
And now Koros going to be going in once again on a Steel City Warrior. This did not go his way last time, but he's still confident to be chasing forward, to be dealing out damage, and to be trying to bully this Kayle for as long as he can.
Yeah, and at least in these shorter situations, we could see Turtle looking for a fight in the jungle.
Potential engage in the enemy blue buff, but also going to be Koros going in on a Steel City Warrior yet again at the same time. Both parties just going to result in one walking away from the other, as North getting some push down onto this mid lane.
Yeah, might even be able to take this turret for himself right here, but if that could overextend, we can see Hecarim is nearby as well, so if there's a 2v2 going to erupt, It would be Soulbound with the drop on silence here, but you can see right here that the sweeper comes through. The first turret gold does go the way of the Vigar.
North getting engaged on here by the Orianna, but once again, just does not do enough damage here from the side of your Nurse. It's going to be engaged on by the set from the other side, gets back up from his own support, but going to be taken down by the Hecarim. Now Banjito once again finds himself on the wrong side of dodge after having tried to back up a teammate with the heroic entrance.
Yeah, gets out just about there. He's able to find some safety with the Nimbus Cloak exhaust that goes down. And another death for your Nurse in the mid lane right here. Not having the greatest showing so far because he's been pretty much brutalized by this Hecarim so far. The immobility of Orianna really showing right here when you don't have the flash stepping up anywhere from even under your tier 2 turret is going to result in some form of danger, and we can see it is being pretty much hounded on time and time again by the Hecarim. Really good knowledge of where he can and can't be, but Koros and Steel City.
Going to be a 2v2 up in this top lane, maybe a 3v2 with the addition of the set, but this Hecarim has already completed his Triforce, and he is massive, just going to tear right through Koros on this cannon pick. Banking forced to flash away, but you cannot flash away from Hecarim, as he is going to Onslaught of Shadows after and get the Divine Intervention on top of him to stay alive even longer. He's going to go down to the turret eventually, but that is going to be a one fight, 2-for-1 for the side of Soulbound Mirage, and they're going to take even more. They're going to try to take on this turret here as your Nurse and North fighting in the mid lane. Your Nurse able to dodge out on as many things as he can, but it's just not going to be enough when he's already slowed down. Now going to get ulted and bursted out so easily by North as another kill is picked up in that mid lane.
Yeah, that stasis coming through just a millisecond too early right there. The channel was started by North, but didn't even finish its way before the stasis came through, so the ultimate wasn't negated there. And, you know, we can see that this mid lane fight isn't something that Nurse should be taking. Looking at the items in themselves, you just know that the Veigar should be winning out on this 1 versus 1. And even if you happen to dodge out on the majority of the skill shots, the Baleful Strikes are still so tarnishing to your health bar that one of them hits and you just instantly are going to lose the fight, because we're getting to the point on this Veigar where he's going to be able to Q ulti a squishy member. He's got 3 levels on Azuto. If he uses his Q and ultimate in combination with the GLP, that's going to give an electrocute proc. That's going to give a lot of burst damage and maybe enough to one-shot these squishier members.
Yeah, and that's the 1v1 where you can just blame NA ping and go on to the next one. But for your Nurse, going to be ending up setting him behind even farther here, as he did just he purchased that stopwatch and was forced to blow it for what was effectively nothing there. As Banky King getting engaged on here by the set, going to be stuck in the event horizon, and it's likely going to be taken down here by Nutty Bars. Now your Nurse going in for the engage here, but going to be flashing Chrono Trigger down by Nutty Bars as Koros coming through here, trying to take down the opposing AD carry. And meanwhile, this carry Hecarim is going to be ripping through the other team, going to be trying to get onto this Galio next, and likely going to be able to pick him up here. Banjito goes down to the side of the Hecarim as Koros and your Nurse are forced away and are now getting flanked by the jungler of the other team. Going to be 1v2'd here as the set picks up a kill onto Kennen, and the Kale able to pick up a kill onto your Nurse.
Yeah, really well played by Soulbound Mirage. That entire sequence of events, you know, they don't give Omega Gaming Silence what they so desperately want, which is a big 5v5 team fight. They take pick after pick, small skirmish after small skirmish, culminating in kills across the board right there. The 5v5 never found by Omega Gaming Silence, and that means that Soulbound Mirage able to come away with a few kills as well.
Now, Banky Kang going to be going for an engage here on the North. They need to shut down this Veigar, but Divine Intervention going to keep him alive even longer. Here comes the hero's entrance. Might be a little bit too late. They are going to pick up the kill on the Veigar. Now, Steel City Warrior left in a 1v2 versus Banjito and Azuto. Going to be trying to back away here into the river where he's back up from his set coming. Going to be looking to not get taunted, but does get taunted nonetheless. Now, here comes Set. Going to be trying to land CC on to Banjito. Going to pull him back into his team and going to take him down with the Haymaker. Now, Azuto being forced to walk away here. Going to get blue smited on by this Hecarim, who's going to chase him down with the Onslaught of Shadows. Now going to easily pick him up with his Triforce. Actually going to donate that kill over to his Kale as Hecarim is dominating this map.
Yeah, he's getting kills across the board right here. Your Nurse TPing in behind, but to absolutely no effect right here. Definitely a difference in this Hecarim compared to the Poppy from game number 1 here. 7,000 gold lead for Soulbound Mirage this time round, and Koros not going to go all the way in, but looking very daunting nonetheless.
Koros going to be looking here, almost landing a stun onto the opposing Samira, but not going to be able to quite lock up Nutty Bars there. Nutty Bars going to then retreat back to the mid lane.
With this game still, you know, it's becoming very one-sided right here for Soulbound Mirage. They've got an incredibly fed Hecarim in the jungle. This Kale that they took into the top side into this Kennen pick. You know, Koros did his best in the early levels to try and stop it, but One solo kill too many has resulted in an absolute monstrosity coming out of the top lane for Soulbound Mirage, so they're going to be happy with the Wit's End now picked up for the Kayle, sapping a little bit of the magic resist, and now a
Oh,
fight.
and now it's going to be a flank from Best Turtle. Once again, going to be trying to get some more kills here. Just going to back away there, though. Does not have access to the Onslaught of Shadows. Doesn't want to overstep when he doesn't have to. Now going to be running into Banky Gang in the jungle, forcing the flash and the flag and drag over into the red buff as he tries to escape.
Exactly, and we still have to remember here that Silence have probably a 5% chance of finding the most ideal team fight that they could imagine with all of their AoE ultimates, but at this point I just wonder if they have the damage. We can see 5 members of Soulbound Mirage posturing on this mid lane tier 2, and the answer from Silence just is not there.
And North has completed his Rabadon's death cap. He's sitting on almost 600 AP right now. He has snowballed on this Vigar so efficiently and is now capable of dishing out so much damage so fast that pretty much nobody on the other side can handle it. Now Steel City Warrior going to be going in for the 1v1 with Koros here, going to lead that off with the Hextech Gunblade right away, and is going to be able to force away his lane opponent, something he hasn't been able to do for quite a bit of this game.
No, and you can see that the sort of differences in how these champions play out in each phase of the game are really starting to come to fruition here. The Kayle, very adept at split pushing, also a very strong team fighter, so as we get into the late game, the versatility that Kayle offers really going to start showing. We saw it right there, that able to bully out Chorus in the 1v1, and you have to imagine in a team fight situation would have been able to bully out the rest of Silence as well. Chorus really thriving in the fact that he can take a big team fight and help out the rest of the squad as Banky Kang might look to fight.
Yeah, Set tanky enough here that he can just force up onto Banky King here. Now going to be getting engaged on by the Cataclysm, going to be carrying the targets out of the Galio ultimate. Now Banky King getting engaged on by North, going to be taken down there pretty easily by the ultimate. And meanwhile, Steel City Warrior has soloed out Azudo on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, that is just the power of Samira right there. Gets trapped in the Cataclysm and dashes out almost as easily as Pi. Able to get to safety. Steel City Warrior
trying to avoid stuns here. Once again, going to dodge out onto that Shuriken. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is onto this Baron. It looks like Soulbound Mirage going to be able to pick this up without too much trouble here. Banky King is down, so there is no smite threat. Blue team is slain Baron Nashor, and now once again going to be trying to survive a gank here on this Kayle pick. Going to come down with a Divine Intervention, going to still get the damage down onto Koros, looking to get a trade here if he can. Might even be able to get the 1v2 as he just bursts through the cannon and is now going to go for Your Nurse. 1v2 for Steel City Warrior as across the map Soulbound Mirage is dominating this game.
Yeah, he has 3 levels on both of these solo laners right here. No Orianna ultimate available for the fight means that there is absolutely 0 chance of taking down the Kayle. 2 completed items, Mercury Treads to help out versus all of the stuns from the cannon, and you can see now with the sustain that Gunblade provides, he's going to keep on walking down bot lane.
And that feels like the last nail in the coffin there for this game, when the target that you've been camping all game and putting so many resources into trying to shut down just 1v2s, both of your solo laners. It's going to be a massive issue here as they can no longer answer the Kayle in the side lane. They can no longer answer the Vigar in any lane. The Hecarim can dominate as many players as he wants and is constantly an engaged threat from all across the map. There's so few options left available for Omega Gaming.
Exactly, they are once again just looking for that perfect team fight, but it really just doesn't feel like it will be enough right here.
Slow over onto Vangito, now going to be stuck in the event horizon, now going to get chain CC'd, going to get taken down even more easily, and that can be done to anybody as they continue to go in here. And here's the Hecarim just going to be looking to solo out Koros here, going to pick him up incredibly easily. Banky King here now coming to try to trade it around, but here comes the backup for Best Turtle as they're going to be getting the Haymaker, they're going to be getting the Showstopper, and they're going to take him down. Another kill going over to the side of North as they're just going to march through this base with only 2 members left alive, and they're going to be trying to end this game.
Yeah, they have Baron, they've got 2 inhibitors down and 3 DPS sources on the turrets.
That's a whiff shockwave. That's not going to be good as Steel City Warrior just walking forward, trying to get some kills here. Does not quite have the Divine Intervention yet, so is forced to flash away. But here, meanwhile, his team is just taking down all of the turrets. The Divine Judgment has not yet come through, but is now once again available. But it doesn't matter as here it comes. Here's the duo we were promised, the Samira Kayle ulti combo done in the opposing team's fountain as they take down the Nexus and take this series to Game 3.
And you know, we said game number 1 could have gone either way. Game number 2 was so one-sided that there was never a doubt in anybody's mind right there. The Hecarim snowball potential coming out in full force right there. Just absolutely dominating not only your nurse, but the rest of Omega Gaming silence as well. A pretty flawless display, you'd have to say, from Best Turtle.
Absolutely, and I don't mean to presume because I'm often wrong, but this Vigar and Hecarim duo felt incredibly practiced over from the side of Soulbound Mirage. They were just constantly able to make the ganks happen. They were keeping good track of the flash timers, and they were constantly able to lock down targets in the event horizon. Even if North can't directly land the stun or guarantee it, he can just trap targets inside of it and knows that Hecarim and Best Turtle can come through and knock people directly into those walls.
Exactly, that is the beauty of the combination that they drafted for themselves, and we have to, question, right, game number one, Soulbound Mirage lost at the hands of a Gangplank. They banned it out and they adapted their draft. Do Omega Gaming Silence do the same here? Because game number three is going to be something very different entirely.
Yeah, absolutely. With two very different drafts coming out now and two very different games coming through as a result, going to be quite exciting.
Definitely is, and with that all being said and done, we will throw it to the quick break because the players are more than ready to get going for game number three. So we'll cut to a short intermission and come back to you guys when we've got ourselves the pro draft right here. So don't go anywhere, don't hesitate with that browser. We will be back in just a few moments here. Don't go away.